stay unlevered, stay focused on the long term, and yes, there's going to be a blow-off top here somewhere, and yes, there'll be a huge correction. Bitcoin can crash from 350,000 down to 250. I'll be a super happy camper. There'll be other people say, "Oh, it's over." But just relax.
Scaramucci opens by calling balls and strikes on how politics has affected crypto. He makes it clear that whether you love or loathe Donald Trump, one thing is certain: the Trump administration has effectively ended the war on crypto. This shift includes putting crypto-friendly individuals in key regulatory roles at the SEC and CFTC and creating a broader pro-innovation policy stance. The U.S., according to Scaramucci, has fallen behind its global competitors by 5 to 10 years in some cases in establishing coherent crypto regulation. But now, with political winds shifting, the U.S. has a chance to reclaim leadership in financial innovation.
Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. You can also check out our other videos on cryptocurrencies and the overall digital asset space and drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks and enjoy the video.
Look, I try to call balls and strikes in my life. The Trump administration has transformed the game. I think the bad news for the United States, unfortunately, is we're about a half a decade behind, and in some cases a full decade behind some of our global competitors. But the Trump administration has ended the war on crypto. They've advanced the ball on regulation. They've got crypto-friendly people at the SEC, the CFTC. I think the political winds have shifted. I think it's going to be very hard for Democrats to be anti-crypto. And I think it's turned out that there's no anti-crypto vote. There's a crypto vote, but there's no anti-crypto vote. So, guys, let's get over it. Let's help the United States maintain its financial services leadership, because I think that's very, very important for the United States. 125 plus years of financial services leadership, and crypto has to be part of the future. And I applaud the Trump administration for seeing that and acting on it. I guess the next step, though, is just to make sure that this is bipartisan.
Absolutely. I'm very happy President Trump is pro-crypto. I'm not a fan of his meme coin. How do you feel about that?
All right, but that's what happens with Donald Trump. I mean, you got to take the whole. Let me tell you something. You got to, you go to the Trump buffet at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
You can't walk away with pro-crypto regulation. You can't walk away with a little bit of a tax cut.
Right.
And you go, could I have a side order of banking deregulation? Trump says, no. You got to eat the whole goddamn thing. You got to eat the meme coin. You got to eat Canada being the 51st state. You got to eat the attack on Greenland. Maybe we're going to take over Panama. Let's drop a tariff bomb on every one of our allies, including our adversaries. So you are forced to eat the whole thing with the Trump buffet. And so I'm not in love with the meme coin, but that's part of Donald Trump. That's who he is. I think they get passed before the August recess. I think these guys are working hard on it. I think they've made some compromises and bridges. And I think it's going to advance pretty quickly. I don't think the Democrats want to be on the wrong side of this. And again, just think like a political leader for a second. You're going into 26. You may be up for re-election. You're going to have your opponent be pro-crypto. You're going to be anti-crypto. First of all, you're going to miss out on a lot of money. You're going to miss out on a lot of votes. And you're going to miss out on a lot of economic opportunity for your constituents. So that's a negative trifecta. And I think these guys have decided that we're going to move the game into a post-partisan discussion, meaning we don't have a partisan discussion about trading stocks and bonds. We don't have a partisan discussion about trading oil or gold. And so let's not have one related to crypto.
That absolutely makes sense. And do you think, Anthony, you've been through the markets. We know a blow-off top is coming sometime this year. That could be a top signal for Bitcoin. 150K, legislation goes into place and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I have experienced 9 colossal, epic bear markets. In the business, 37 years. It can be brutal in the bear markets. The big message for people is you got to see things through. Obviously, probably one of the most painful periods of my career was after the FTX debacle, and in 2022, we were really hurting. We held our positions, stuck to our positions, and I will tell people unleveraged is the right way to go in this market, because what the leverage is, Buffett would tell you that the leverage is a spear coming out of the steering wheel of your sports car, and you're driving at night on an icy mountain road. When you need to hit the brake, that's when you don't want the leverage plunging into you. And so stay unlevered, stay focused on the long term. And yes, there's going to be a blow off top here somewhere. And yes, there'll be a huge correction. Bitcoin can crash from 350,000 down to 250. I'll be a super happy camper. There'll be other people say, oh, it's over. But just relax. The thing I'm most excited about is getting this legislation passed, because this legislation getting passed is a game opener for the traditional finance people. Yes, Larry Fink is there. Abigail Johnson from Fidelity is there. But the money center banks are coming, and that's when you'll start to see the real maturity in the industry. And my big message to Thinking Crypto viewers and listeners is we're still very, very, very early.
Scaramucci also ties the rise of stablecoins to U.S. dollar supremacy. He notes that while companies like Tether are not widely used in the U.S. due to unclear regulation, they hold more U.S. treasuries than Germany or Japan. By ensuring that stablecoins are U.S. dollar denominated, the U.S. extends its economic power globally. Every stablecoin is essentially a mini dollar export, reinforcing the dollar's role as the global reserve currency.
And I do think you'll see more. I think Kraken will likely go public this year, if not in the next couple of months. There was a neobank, not necessarily in the crypto space, called Chime, went public today. And so the IPO window has opened. I think that's good news. What I'm a little disappointed about, and this is because of regulation, we have less great companies going into the hands of the public. So it's hard for the public to get access to XAI, SpaceX, lots of high-profile, privately traded or privately held companies that are not going public because of the onerous regulation. So I'm hoping for some delayering activity from the SEC that allows the public to get themselves on the hands of some of these great companies. Remember, when I was a kid, in 1986, Microsoft went public. And man, if you were smart enough to own Microsoft and write Apple Computer, let the public have an opportunity to have jockeys like Brian Armstrong, Jeremy Allaire, all-stars CEOs like that, have their money allocated towards. So I hope there's more public offerings. I hope there's some less regulation associated with that.
So let's say the SEC updates the accreditation laws, but also could tokenization be something that companies can do ahead of an IPO, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that's also coming. If you can get Larry Fink on your program, I'll channel my Larry Finkishness, if you will. That's happening the next 3 years. Imagine a situation, Tony. I've got my phone over there. On my phone is my Starbucks stock. It's been tokenized. I walk into a local Starbucks, they're having a share repurchase, and they'll give me a 20% discount on the drink that I'm about to buy from them if I move a sliver of my Starbucks stock over to the barista over the blockchain. Okay, why can't that happen? Why can't that happen? Why couldn't that happen at a Walmart? Why couldn't that happen at Walt Disney? The point I'm making is there's going to be a lot more fungibility, a lot more liquidity on chain, and it's going to open up a whole range of potential positive commercial outcomes for people. Well, I think this is the sweet spot. People need to understand that we need to get this regulation passed, and we need to have clarity on stable coins, because look at somebody like Tether, not well known in the United States, or at least not used in the United States because of regulation, but Tether has more treasuries, U.S. treasuries on its balance sheet than Germany, the sovereign country of Germany, the sovereign country of Japan. And so what we know, more stablecoin proliferation, if I'm saying that word properly, leads to more dollar supremacy, because we're going to mark these stablecoins in U.S. dollar, and that will strengthen the U.S. dollar's position around the world.
Is SkyBridge looking at doing something along those lines, or if helping another company do something like that?
Well, like I said, I'm an investor in Circle. We have an ETF where we own a lot of Coinbase in the ETF, so we're huge investors in Coinbase, at least through that pass-through. I own a lot of Bitcoin on the firm's balance sheet. We own Bitcoin in the firm's funds. We own Solana, Avalanche. We own Polkadot. I don't see us going into the stablecoin space. We're just too small of a company. But I do see us as enablers. You know, we have a big conference business. We've been 15 years in the conferencing business, 16 years now, hundreds of thousands of delegates. And I've been trying to use that platform to convert traditional finance people into at least thinking more about DeFi. And so a lot of different organizations, a lot of different coins have partnered with us to help out with that experience.
Anthony Scaramucci delivers a compelling, no-nonsense look at how crypto regulation, political transformation, and next-gen financial technology are converging in 2025. From calling out political realities to envisioning a tokenized future, his insights offer both clarity and conviction. Whether you're an investor, policymaker, or just someone trying to understand where the world of finance is headed, this message is clear. Crypto is no longer fringe. It's the foundation of the next era of financial leadership. Please like and subscribe.